casually explained. The greatest country on earth. You got that goddamn right. Amen, brother. K-Kona. Yeehaw! Let's get right on.
This video is sponsored by Saley. Canada is the second largest country in the world by landmass, and despite having only 40 million people, it has a massively outsized global impact.
I genuinely didn't
our
know
flag
he was
is
going to do
objectively the best humanity has come
There
up
was
with
an
so
eagle
far.
on the...
The only one that rivals us is when Japan powers
thumbnail.
up for 2 episodes and then sends their navy to commit war crimes. Secondly, ask any American to name one non-economic metric that America does better than Canada, and they'll say, what's a metric? Most importantly, America likes to brag they put man on the moon, and Canada put women in leggings. Welcome to the 21st century.
Ooh.
Now, even though Canada is known as the Great White North, if you
Touché.
look at the demographics of Vancouver, I'm in fact a minority. Despite my oppression, I live in harmony with other people, and Canada is a melting pot of cultures. From the West Coast to the East Coast, you have an enormous diversity of people. To illustrate the point, here we have the newlywed and nearly dead, then we have gays and Asians, then it goes Timu, Texas, Earth is flat, definitely flat, milk in a bag, gays, lobsters, potatoes, leprechauns. All the other territories are climate change insurance. Although it has a lot of
milk in a bag
similarities,
was all
Canadian
across the
culture is
board.
distinctly different from the U.S. As an example, Canada doesn't have the NFL, NBA, or MLB. We just have the NHL, which stands for No Houses Left.
It is funny whenever you're a Canadian. I'm not a Canadian, but from what I've heard, everybody just assumes that you're American. I mean, generally speaking, depending on the country, if you're white, they'll kind of just assume that you're American anyway.
Tried nothing to solve this. We're all out of ideas. Because us cool Canadians on the West Coast who have pine trees and somewhat acceptable weather don't relate so much to everyone in the lame Eastern...
You know what does annoy me, though, is that Canada is only separate from America when it's convenient for them. I've seen this from multiple of my Canadian friends where they'll be like, no, all that crime and gun shit, that's all your guys' problem. But exactly kind of what he was talking about, like the second the moon comes up, my friend would say, we put man on a moon. I'm like, you're Canadian. What are you talking about? It's like, well, it's the same culture. And I'm like, what?
Provinces
I swear they all do that.
Accents. The Pacific Northwest has previously thrown around the idea of creating our own independent sovereign territory called Cascadia, which would mostly include British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. The idea came about when we asked ourselves if an economy could be sustained purely by fishermen, lumberjacks, and pride parades. And while haters say that men shouldn't be in women's sports, no other country is ever beating us at Olympic drag. Sometimes English-speaking Canadians get a little sad because we don't have much in our culture that is
I'll be honest, I don't get drag. Like if you like drag, it's fine, whatever. But it's just like, and the annoying thing is you can't say that you don't like drag because then people think that you're like homophobic. It's like, it's a beauty pageant. If I said I don't like beauty pageants, nobody's gonna bat an eye. Everybody's just gonna be like, yeah, of course you don't like beauty pageants. But it's just like, oh, you don't like drag? What the fuck? What, you don't like gay people? It's like, no, I don't give a fuck.
Simply Canadian and not influenced by the United States. But that's exactly the beauty of it. One of the best parts of being Canadian is...
I feel like most people who watch drag, if you ask them, what do you think about beauty pageants? They'll say like, oh, I hate beauty pageants. They're disgusting. Like, honestly.
Traveling abroad, and when someone asks you, so where in the United States are you from? You get to experience the joy and relief on their face when you say you're from Canada. The fact of the matter is that Canadian and American culture are deeply intertwined. You might be European and think, you North Americans are all the same. You think life is only about working and making more money so you can...
That I'll be honest, that kind of sounds vaguely Asian and not French.
Consume more. Over here, we know what truly matters in life.
He's got the like...
friends, one passport. Easy to say when you have time off to protest for more time off, but this jab doesn't faze us Canadians. Americans work long hours, complain a lot, and make a lot of money. Whereas Canadians work long hours. Similarly, the moment a Canadian goes to Europe and is like, wait, everything's closed from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and every Sunday? Every street is one way? Why does it look like they just tacked on traffic lights to 300-year-old cobblestone roads?
Because they
Where's
did.
The street parking? Where are the highway systems to connect us to Costco? We then suddenly become aware there isn't a single IHOP, Tim Hortons, Denny's, or 24/7 drive-thru literally anywhere, and we realize this isn't work-life balance. This is some bullshit, and we stand with the Americans as our own brethren who
Amen.
especially do not tolerate being hungry under any circumstance.
Exactly.
When you ask someone to think of things that are for real Canadian and not American at all, there are only a few things that come to mind.
Oh, beavers? Wait, what? Justin Bieber. Oh, maybe that's actually where he was going with that. Tim Hortons. Drake. War of 1812.
Beavers, moose, hockey, poutine, rush,
Poutine, fair
Nanoland,
enough.
the big comfy couch, Terrence and Phillip, Little Bear, Franklin, this cancer patient,
He's owning Terrence and Phillip.
both Ryans and Nelly Furtado.
Oh, really? Both Ryans are. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that Ryan Reynolds was Canadian, but I didn't know that Ryan Gosling was.
Nathan Fielder,
Nathan
Trailer Park
Fielder.
Boys,
Oh,
The Scourge
no.
of the Earth,
We can't
and
have
of course maple syrup. But what truly defines Canadian
Maple
culture
syrup.
is
Oh,
how we measure things, as we're not just bilingual in both imperial and metric, but we also just make up measurements as we go along. People and objects are weighed in pounds, but not food. We measure that in grams and milliliters. We
Yeah.
measure alcohol in mils and liters, but a bottle of gin is a 2.6 and a glass of wine is in ounces. A person's height is
2.6,
measured in
what?
feet and inches, and short distances are also in feet. But if something is at the end of the block, we'll tell you it's like 50 meters away. Only old people use yards and miles. But that's okay, because all of us take pride in being able to poorly convert it to metric for you.
Look, here's always been my thing about like feet versus meters is like, look, I fully concede that the metric system when it comes to like the a decimal based system is definitely superior, but I don't like the length of a meter. I like the length of a foot because the second you have 2 meters, you're already outside of like most people's height, right? It's too big of a measurement, and I get that it's like based on like the diameter of the earth or whatever, or the radius. No, I think it's the circumference, whatever. But like it's convenient to be able to say, oh, this thing is about 4 feet tall. It's, things that are human sized, but still not go into decimals. Like, oh, that's about like two and a half meters. That's about like 1.25 meters. Well, I guess
Long
you'd say
distances
one
are
and
not
a
measured
quarter.
in
Well, you know what
kilometers
I
or
mean.
miles, but are instead measured by the time it takes you to get there. All temperature is measured in Celsius because Fahrenheit just makes no sense at all.
Excuse me. That's one of my gripes is that Fahrenheit. I think. Look, I get that that Celsius is based on water, and that's fine and dandy. But it's like Fahrenheit is 100% based on humans. It's like if your temperature is over 100 degrees, you have a fever. If it's over 100 degrees outside, it's dangerously hot out. If it is under 0 degrees outside, it is dangerously cold out. Right.
This excludes the oven. That should obviously be in Fahrenheit, as we all know Celsius only goes up to 100. A major difference between Canada and the US is our slang. For example, what do you call this? We call this pop, while you guys call it soda. You call this a beanie,
some
and we
places
call
call
a
it pop.
toque. We would say this is a
toque.
washroom. You would call this a restroom. We
Yeah.
would call this an ambulance, while you call it filing for bankruptcy. We like to say
All right,
that
shut
went
up.
from 0 to 100 real quick, while you say 32
Touche.
to 212. While Canadians are known for saying sorry a lot, it's not because we're
Sorry.
apologizing at all. We use it for every situation an American would say, excuse me, pardon me, huh, or oops. Trying to move past someone in the way, that's a sorry. Bump
Right.
someone accidentally, that's a sorry. What did you say? That's a sorry. Spilled your own drink? That's a sorry. Wait, that was your land? That's a sorry. For some reason, Americans find our words for things cute and endearing, while we're annoyed because that's just how we talk. I thought Americans were just giving us the big brother treatment until one time an American came into the souvenir store I worked at when I was 18 and was like, help me out with your Monopoly money. I can't make sense of it. And while
me
people
out
still
with
say
your
that all the
Monopoly
time about our fabulous and indestructible bills, he instead dropped a handful of coins onto the table and then was like, okay, this one's a nickel, this one's a dime, and this one's a quarter. We have the same sort of thing back home, but what on earth are these things? Okay, so that one's a loony.
A loony and a toonie.
A what? Oh my
Loony.
gosh! Wow, what's that worth? A dollar. It's got a loon on it. It's like a duck sort of thing. That's why we call it.
I do think that having a dollar, like the same thing with like euro and pound. I think like having a dollar as a coin is just annoying. Like just keep the change, the coins, keep the dollars, the bills, because carrying around however many dollars in coins is annoying.
Oh, I haven't seen that before. You Canadians really are something, aren't you? Okay, then what's this one worth? $2? What do you call this one? A double loony?
A toonie.
And I was like, I don't want to tell you anymore.
I don't want to tell
Anyway,
you.
before you ask, yes, we do throw them at strippers, and yes, they do die sometimes. If you've ever wondered why your girlfriend always has random bruises on her legs,
I've heard that the strippers in Canada, you cover them in maple syrup and then throw loonies and toonies at them, and they stick.
and she says she doesn't know how they got there, now you know. At the end of the day, there's really only one way for Canada to be better than it is, which is if Air Canada were replaced by literally any other airline. Besides that, only a few suggestions have been worth considering, like when Trump threw around the idea of the United States becoming part of Canada. While this would increase the amount of provinces we have to 60,
Becoming
it would require
part of
some
Canada.
sacrifices. First of all, the force field we built on the southern border would have been for nothing. Secondly, guns would be everywhere, particularly in my possession, causing a threat to general safety. While Americans would finally get universal health care, that would bankrupt us all. And while the little morsel of British education we still have in us would be cancelled out by the American education system, I'd finally be able to get a good brisket. All in all, not a bad trade-off for America to be run by
Yeah, but it's so expensive though.
Canadians
Jesus
from
Christ.
here on out. Now, if you're someone who's been threatening to move to Canada every 4 years if the guy you don't like gets in, you're cooked when I get in and there's nowhere to go. At least nowhere that's covered by your cell phone provider's roaming plan at a reasonable price.
Oh, it was a Saley. Everybody go buy Saley.com/casually. Buy a couple. I have 3. I just bought 3 actually, just coincidentally. Just now. Anyway, go like and subscribe.